I am here on the Discourse, and I've got my lovely guest now with me, Sally. Good morning, Sally. Thank you for joining me.
Good morning.
How are you?
Good. Very good, thanks.
Yeah, not too tired.
No, end of the half term, so the tiredness subsided about yesterday.
So,
it's like
the children have
the peak.
They've kept you busy.
Indeed. Yes.
So Sally, you're also your coach, aren't you? You do a bit of life coaching. Yep. What else do you do?
A bit of fitness training, financial coaching as well. So it's a bit of a mishmash, but I'm calling it health is wealth. Health is wealth.
I love that.
Yeah, it's just the focus on trying to make a holistic approach to complete well-being.
Okay. Yeah. So with the health management, not health, financial. What does that actually involve in terms of?
So I support families to become debt-free and financially independent through financial education.
Nice.
So I just get referrals from someone who I've done a good job for, and then support other families to do exactly the same.
Fantastic. And you're here because I reached out because I was going to cover the topic on Grenfell.
Yes.
14th of June is going to be the 1-year anniversary. What we know is that 72 people were killed or died during the fire. And I was watching. Well, I tried to watch the Panorama series on BBC that was aired on the 21st of May. I don't know if anybody else watched it or got to watch it.
I didn't, yeah.
And the topic was Grenfell, who was to blame. And the reporter Richard Bayton revealed that new evidence about safety failures that led to the death, and why no one has been held to account, and it's a year on. And I know a lot of people are shying away from the topic, and maybe because of legal reasons people can't comment on stuff. But I guess going back, and because the anniversary is coming up, you were one of the first people at hand to help people within the community, weren't you?
Yeah.
Can you just talk me through what you did and how did it all come about? You're just like, okay, we're going to open up a church and help. Just like that.
It's kind of a long drawn out story, but I unfortunately at the time that the fire had started didn't realise it had started. I don't know whether that day I just slept really heavy or what, but
so you live quite closely.
Indeed, yes.
Okay.
So smoke pluming, having to walk with your hands covering your mouth, that kind of thing as you're walking down the street. So early hours of the morning, I think for me, which was quite late, probably about 5 or 6 in the morning, I realised I had like over 100 messages and missed calls on my phone. People just calling to see if we were okay, if what was happening, could we see anything, did we know anyone that was injured, that kind of thing. So I was a bit shocked and jumped up, switched on the TV, and then was horrified at what I saw. Looked out the window, and you could just see plumes of smoke in the distance. Decided to get my daughter ready for school. Her school's literally probably 400 yards away from the main stations. So as we did, we just walked to the school, and they have a church that's associated with the school. And I decided to contact the 2 church wardens and say, look, what can we do? Because I was meeting parents all along the road who were just distraught, and we all wanted to do something. Absolutely everybody who was walking in the street who wasn't directly affected, like taking their children to school in pyjamas because they just wanted the children out of the area. And that wasn't even people in the tower. That was just people in the neighbouring area who just thought, let's just get out of the house because it's just too close. And I reached out, managed to get one of the wardens. He was also one of the parents at the school. We opened up doors. I went into Sainsbury's and just bought emergency stuff like, sort of food, drink, napkins, wipes, all that kind of stuff that I thought that people would need. If we had people that were coming in the doors. So we did that. Myself and Steve literally stayed in the church the whole of that morning. And as the day went on, floods and floods of people just started coming down. So the doors open, people were donating, people wanted to come and help. We have an office block opposite they wanted to come and help. So we just started taking names and numbers of people, saying that at the moment we're just open doors, we're just a church. In fact, at that time we didn't even have a priest. So we were literally just there as like two parishioners just wanting to do our best.
Yes.
We had international student accommodation across the road who came over and just said, look, we've got 20 empty units at the moment. If you have anyone who needs any shelter, just let us know. So we kept that in, you know, our mind's eye, and just kept on taking the donations in. By the end of the first day, we had so much stuff.
Yes.
We literally had to shut the door.
Wow.
Around 7 o'clock, we just closed the door. People were coming with vans because we were on the outskirts. So in relation to the Grenfell, we're literally on probably, for that area, one of the furthest locations from directly the fire. You can see it in the distance. You could smell the smoke and everything. But it was the easy way from anyone. We had people from Brighton come down. But
wow,
that was a situation where somebody said to me, oh, you know, the best thing that we probably had at our disposal was that we wasn't right in the epicenter, and it took me nearly 48 hours before I got right down to what we would call like the ground zero. We didn't get down to the West Bay because there was just so much people coming in.
Okay.
And when I did, I understood what people said when they said when they came to us, they had peace. Like literally, we had people coming in just to pray because it was like, you know, just, wow, how's this managed to happen? But at the same time, it was wonderful to see how the community just
rallied together.
Out. You know, young, old, rich, poor. You know, from the Millionaire Row right up to, you know, the Carnival route. There was people all over just trying to do their best, and that lasted solidly for at least about 10 days. Yeah. So it was just constant, where people just wanted to continue to do what they needed to do, and we did exactly that. So, you know, we happily managed to support 2 families from our school. So my daughter's school, there was 2 families that were affected, one directly from the tower and then one from one of the walkways. Oh, wow. So can happily say that all of the people in both families are doing well, and they're fine. They had a difficult time in the beginning, but, you know, they luckily came out the other side. And do you know if they got therapy, if they got anything like that? Because that's what was offered. So we had a community nurse pass by at the church who just said to us, anyone that you get in, just call us and we'll be there. Okay. There's been ongoing stuff happening in the school. So the schools had child psychologists, educational psychologists, and post-traumatic stress coordinators come in to the school to support the children as well as the parents. So we've done workshops for both children and parents. That was sort of our great link, really, to getting the straight away, getting the instant support, which at first they were kind of like, don't go straight in and go with the support. Obviously, let people settle, let the shock settle, and then tackle it. But from the school's perspective, they thought there was a lot of children that just wanted answers. They just wanted to talk. They just wanted to, you know, just say whatever they wanted to say about it, which luckily for our school, because we were just that little bit further away, they were able to use mediums of art, you know, doing lots of drawing, that kind of thing. So that's where a lot of the time the creative side of it came from, like the ribbons. So down close to the literally the tower, there was lots of yellow ribbons. Okay. So the yellow ribbons were to represent those that were lost and those that people were looking for. Yeah. The scariest part of it was the whole of the area was covered with posters of missing people. So wherever you walked, you'd see a missing person. Some of those people you knew. So it was like you was hoping that they were genuinely just missing, especially in the first couple of days. Yeah. You just hope that, you know, maybe they were in a hospital, maybe, you know, they'd been taken into one of the centres down at the Westway. They'd literally had camp beds put down. One of the local schools had the same. They came to ask us in our church if we had the space, if we could do that. And we said yes, but we luckily had the student accommodation that had been offered across the road from us.
Fantastic.
But at the same time, they were like, no, we want to know where everybody is.
Okay.
They just didn't want people moving too far, so they could keep a tally of who came from the tower.
Okay.
Who was, you know, from the walkways, and they didn't want people going too far out because then they would lose count of, who's who. So it was really, really hard in the first couple of days.
And you know what's so sad is to hear about the people who defrauded.
And there were a few, sadly. There were a few. I had a personal incidents with one particular gentleman who, at first, you know, we had so many different workers coming down. We had social workers, we had those from some of the charities, and a lot of people just wanted to do their bit, and a lot of those people that were from the area could see that there was a lot to be gained from this whole situation, and that was what was so sad.
Yeah.
Because there was a lot of things that went wrong in the early stages, like us trying to reach out to get support from what was called, I think it's the TMO. So we told the TMO that we had these 20 units.
Okay.
I mean, the student accommodation, it's like a bed sit.
What does TMO stand for?
It's for the tenants association for the council, but unfortunately, as I said in the early days, because there was this sense of what was happening from the council and the community were doing so much more, there was kind of like a shutdown where they was advised to not, you know, communicate with anyone, not talk to anyone, let them get their workers out into the streets and see what they can do. And unfortunately, a lot of the residents were just like, no, it's too late.
Yeah.
A lot of them that were directly affected in the tower had been complaining for over a year about the situation in the tower, and were concerned about safety.
Yeah.
And they had, you know, mentioned that several times, but hadn't been listened to. So, to be honest, a lot of the housing association groups in their area weren't the people that they wanted to see.
Okay, so there was lack of trust.
There was complete lack of trust from their side. So it got to a point where the community were the closest and the best thing that they had, as opposed to wanting to go to, you know, the local council or anything like that. And then there were also the leaseholders. So if you bought your property and you knew for, you know, surveyor reasons that there was certain issues with safety, you were then even doubly angry because you were also part of that group that were like, look, there's something not quite right. We need this looked into. We need this rectified. And the facade of the building was prettied up in a way that they weren't happy with. If you see the area just down at the location, you've got literally on one side of the tube bridge is what we'd classify as the Millionaire Row. Okay. And the other side is complete social housing, all the tower blocks. Okay. And to make the whole of that building look more aesthetically pleasing, that's why that particular kind of approach was taken to make it look a lot more, you know, attractive to the area. Yeah. Because there is a big sort of jump in in social brackets and wealth brackets in that area. So for some people, they were like, yeah, they're just trying to make this place look nicer than it is, just so that when someone looks out of their £1 million property, there's a better view. Oh gosh. And that view's going to be horrifying those very same people for many years to come.
Wow. Okay, let's hold the thought right there. We'll go on a quick break and we'll be right back.
No one plays it better on the radio than us. ABN Radio, home of Afrobeats.
Mixed Mixpiration with Bright every Sunday evening from 6 to 8 p.m. is just fun. It's exciting. It's a mix of contemporary R&B and pop gospel music right here on ABN Radio. Enjoy great tunes every Sunday evening with Bright on Mixpiration, a blend of great inspiring songs just for your Sunday evening relaxation. Tune in from 6 to 8 p.m. this and every Sunday. They're on ABN Radio, London's Afropolitan radio station. Tune in to the new ABN Breakfast Show from 7 a.m. to 11 a.m. The London City Show has evolved into an all-new breakfast show with sizzling slices of juicy newsy current affairs served with junior jumbo-sized convos on issues you should be aware of. What did I just say? The ABN Breakfast Show, the Afropolitan breakfast you can't afford to miss.
Consider that life wasted. Consider the heart ripped out of a family. Consider the potential never realized. Are these the things you consider when you carry a knife? It's not about street cred. It's about staying alive. Drop that knife. Save your life.
Welcome back to the Discourse this morning. It's a little bit of a gloomy one. We're talking about Grenfell. It's going to be 1 year anniversary on the 14th of June, and I have the lovely Sally here, who's was on ground when it all happened around this time last year, actually. So you just talked us through what you did, which was really admirable, and going forward. And I guess, like we said, a lot of people are shying away from the topic because it's still going through the legal process.
Indeed.
And
one of the main reasons,
why people are not talking about it so much. But I was sent an article in the Evening Standard, and I'm just like, why do people do this? So illegal immigrants who posed as Grenfell fire victims to con their way into a hotel with one racking up to £11,000 food bill. So there were two illegal immigrants who falsely claimed more than £100,000 in accommodation and prepaid credit card, posing as victims of Grenfell Tower fire, are facing jail. So Elaine Douglas and Tommy Brooks, who are Jamaican nationals, were put up in hotels for almost a year before staff at the Royal Borough of Kensington and Chelsea realised that the flat they claimed to live in did not exist.
Wow.
Yeah. The pair, both 51, also tried to take advantage of the scheme, allowing residents of the tower leave to remain in the country for at least 5 years. So Douglas was housed in Radisson Blu, which is a really posh hotel to house somebody.
Yes, it's a nice one in the area.
But I was wondering, how come they spent so much money as well? Because that's a lot of money there's lots of B&Bs, right, and stuff.
We had families that were placed in hotels for a short while.
Yeah.
And there were those that just found it difficult, especially those with children. I suppose if you're a single person, it's kind of, for a first few days, especially if you're faking it.
Yes.
It's nice because you got 3 square meals a day.
Yeah.
They had a cap on how much you could spend per meal, but it was still 3 square meals a day and a bed. And obviously in a hotel like Radisson, it's like being in a bed sit, really, isn't it? Because you just go down.
That's true. Get your breakfast.
Get your breakfast, you get your lunch, you get your dinner.
Yeah.
And then you go back up to your room. You got room service. You don't have to clean. You know, all that kind of stuff. So it did become sort of like an attractive meal ticket. And for somebody to do that just sickens me.
It's just
because
wrong.
There were people who I know who had to be in that position and didn't want to stay in a hotel for any longer than they absolutely needed to. They wanted to be moved quickly because they had children to get to school, they had work to go to, they had a life to try and get back on track. And some people, as you said, for up to a year, that just to me sounds like it just sounds like madness. It sounds like lunacy that somebody could actually want to be in that position for such a long time.
It's just it's I don't know, it's just so wrong, isn't it, to take advantage of the system as well like that. I don't know, it's just, I just feel I didn't know anyone who was affected by the fire personally, but the thought of the fire actually traumatized me myself.
Of course. Because
it was the fear factor of it all, watching it and just actually feeling like, what if that was you? Yeah. you know, and the empathy was like, gosh, I really feel for these people. It felt like a nightmare for me, and I didn't even live through it, you know. So I do hope that they are getting the help that they need, and justice does, you know, come for them. But I think it's looking that way, that they might, because other cases has set precedents. So hopefully based on that, it will be a different outcome for them.
We very much hope so.
So let's move it forward, and let's focus on you, the woman of the hour. Let's talk all about you and how all this began for you.
Okay.
And you have to say your surname, actually, because I don't think
Nkrumah, like Kwame.
Yeah, Kwame Nkrumah. Thank you. Yes. So let's talk about you. And because you said you're now doing this, what were you doing before, and what made you start doing life coaching, etc.?
Okay, so previously I came from health and fitness background, and I had been working for one of the well-known gyms.
Okay, we won't mention.
Just keep it like that.
Yes, no plug-in.
No plug-in. So I did that for 6 years. That kind of helped me through my sort of the early years of raising my children, having a steady job. That was really good. And it's what I studied post-pregnancy, because I didn't quite like the way that I, not physically through the body, but you know, so my fitness deteriorated through complications when I had my first daughter. So I decided I'm going to get fit. I'm going to train. And then I kind of slipped into the job because I actually did a fitness course to get fit and to learn about fitness, but not as a career. Because I was previously a youth work and education teacher. So I used to teach health and social care, and worked in youth work for like 16 years. So that was my main background. Fitness became the hobby that turned into a job. So I did that, and then that came to an end as I decided that work wasn't allowing me all of a sudden, which was quite funny because in the early years of raising my children was great, but all of a sudden was far too demanding for raising a small young family. So I decided that, you know, as much as work was great, I did loved what I did, but I felt like my family needed me more. And luckily I was given an opportunity to, you know, walk away from that and start working for myself. And that's what I've started doing over the last year. Literally, Grenfell was right at the beginning of me branching out to start self-employment, start my own business. And that's what kind of kick-started me back into my community work, because in 2015, I stopped working as a youth worker, as I said, for 16 years, stayed within the community, but didn't have that direct community impact, and Grenfell is what brought that back. So, as soon as it happened, like everyone else who was in the area, you know, that just...
Your priorities kind of changed.
My priorities changed. Having my young children to think about and their futures, that also kind of pushed me into the throes of, you know, starting my social enterprise and deciding that not only would I want to impact the community, but also I'd want to make a business for myself, and that's what I've done. So yeah, it's been a funny journey. Funny start, but a great one all the same.
It's always scary at first, isn't it?
Terrifying.
Yes.
I literally jumped off the cliff.
Yes.
I literally started flapping my wings. I'm like that, I don't know, what's one of those birds that doesn't fly very well? I'm not soaring yet. I'm not, but I'm still flapping very fast.
So can we say that you're like a swan? So everything's flowing smoothly, but underneath you're like...
Actually, do you know what? If I actually close my eyes, it's like I've jumped out of the plane. I haven't opened my parachute
as yet.
So that's how it feels. That's the best way for me to describe it. I've jumped out. I've got over the, oh my gosh.
What am I doing?
What am I doing? What did I just do? I'm about to pull the cord.
This is reminding me of a Steve Harvey where he says, if you don't jump, you just never know.
You never know. And it's absolutely the journey that I've taken for the last year and a half.
Yeah, I can so relate to that because 4 years ago, I also left my full-time job in banking to pursue media because I'd been presenting and hosting all along in the background, and an opportunity came and I thought, you know what? I better take the leap of faith now because I don't want to be one of those mothers like shoulda, coulda, woulda. Like, you know, regretting having all of those bad tempers and acting out on your children.
And yes,
if only I'd done this before I had you, if only. And so I didn't want to do that. I'm like, okay. But I could totally relate to it where you're just like, am I doing the right thing?
Right.
What is this really all about?
Yes.
But then whenever you start thinking that, everything just kind of falls into place. It all suddenly works out. And I believe that the most important thing is in doing what you love, and not only doing that, doing it well as well. So equipping ourselves with the right things that we need to do. So like you said, you had your training. So you're taking the right steps, and I'm sure it's all going to come together. And
indeed.
And I'm glad that you started talking about that, and we have you here because next week we're going to start a series on what does it mean to be a woman in the 21st century, and especially I guess as a black woman as well.
Wow.
So we're going to focus on health, we're going to focus on entrepreneurs, different working environments. What does it actually mean to you? What does being a woman mean or feel to you actually?
Okay, so for me, coming from most recently in fitness, coming from quite a male-dominated area.
Yeah.
You know, six packs and pecs and all that kind of stuff. I found it incredibly hard to just be that. I couldn't even say mum, because at some points I didn't even want it to be about my children. Okay. So a lot of people didn't even know that I had children.
Okay.
But just being a woman in that kind of environment was incredibly difficult if you didn't also have the six-pack, walk up and down in the leggings and, you know, tight buns and
looking a certain way.
You know, that kind of thing. And already that whole gym environment is quite intimidating if you don't have the perfect figure. So for a woman who's plus size or just not very fit, walking into that environment was incredibly difficult. So that's why I kind of always reached out to the parents. I mean, it was my area anyway, because I was the manager for coordinating family and children's activities.
Okay.
So I did work directly with parents. But at the same time, that whole being a woman in that environment often challenged what and who I really was. So a lot of the time, I was always seen as the antisocial person, but it was because I'd have to go home. I've got my kids.
You have priorities.
I've got other priorities.
Yes.
You know, we'd have targets like month end where we'd have to make sure we'd hit target, we'd hit budget. There'd be late hours, and I would do as much as I could, and sometimes I would go completely over, you know, and above. Yeah. But still, sometimes it wasn't enough. So that's why for me, looking back, I can laugh. But at the time, it was a really challenging time when those, you know, targets came in, when there was, you know, things put in front of me that meant that my family would be sacrificed. But in the beginning, it was great because at one point, there was a lot of support for people that had children. I mean, I worked in a child-centered environment. Yeah. Though when things changed within the company, that was completely changed for myself. It was encouraged to support parents, and then all of a sudden, with a change of management, that completely changed for me, and it completely changed for a lot of mothers who worked in the company, and a lot of mothers left. Okay. You know, it was just like in education where you go to school and most of the teachers are women, and they say, it'd be great if we had more men. There's a reason for that. We just naturally gravitate to want to support and nurture, and that was the kind of environment it was in the beginning. Yeah, and then it changed because Not to say the men came in and changed it, but the men came in and changed it. So, for me, I stuck in for a very long time. Returned from maternity with my second child after 3 months of maternity.
Okay, short.
Yeah. That whole first year was a massive struggle, juggling 2 children and also trying to maintain, the status quo in the workplace. Put a lot of strain on my family. But at the same time, I persevered, and I was called resilient more than once.
Okay.
Which for me felt a bit like, did you expect me to break or you expect me to fall? Because that's not one of my options. It's not something I do. I don't quit just for the sake of stopping. So that's fine, being resilient. But yeah, being a mother in the workplace,
it's hard work.
At that time was incredibly hard.
Okay. We might have to talk about that actually. Maybe put that in as being a housewife or being a mother. It's all being part of a woman, isn't it?
It is.
But then also, there was a statement that I heard. Actually, there's this DVD that I tried to use, and it says that 4 in 5 black women are overweight.
Yeah, we got this this body dysmorphia that is being perpetuated, unfortunately, from outside. Because if you look at it now, and this is one of my it's my labours of love, because I do work with women in fitness, and most women in fitness, because I came from a demographic of the Kensington mums.
Okay.
They're pre and postnatal. They don't want to put on too much weight through pregnancy, and then they want to get back to
what they were
pre-baby weight.
Yeah.
And it's madness, for want of a better word.
Do you think there's a difference though in terms of culturally? Because when you said that, I can just imagine maybe.
That's why I said Kensington mums, just to keep it very nice and simple, because it's not even, sometimes it's not even by race.
Okay.
Because there was a lot of Kensington mums who were Afro-Caribbean women who just believed they needed to get back to a size 10 and below.
But is that wrong? Because if that's the weight they were before, that's a good thing, right? To want to challenge yourself to be back to your initial weight.
Not when you're nursing small children.
No?
There's a certain amount of energy that you need to have, and a certain amount of strength that you need to have, that if you rush it, this is what a lot of people didn't realise. They were happy to, take it, 6 weeks check, come in, get a consultation, get a personal trainer for 6 months, get a personal trainer for 3 months, and try to get their body back.
Yeah.
If they did it tapered, not literally, 6 weeks check, back in the gym, bombing away, I want my flat stomach back straight away. Hormonally, it takes up to a year for your body to roll back into even, into shape.
Okay.
You're still dealing with hormones. And that's what the difference between men's fitness and women's fitness that a lot of women don't understand. Hormonally, we're at a disadvantage. Testosterone is what builds muscle.
Okay.
And women sometimes don't realise that. So when they're saying, well, I want to get, you might have lost muscle mass in your pregnancy. You might have lost muscle mass from not moving as actively through your pregnancy because you just wasn't actively, doing the right kind of exercises. Okay. So a lot of the time they put too much pressure on themselves, partners as well. So like you said, the stay-at-home mums, they've got a partner who's probably paying for their gym membership, a nanny's gym membership, the kids' gym membership.
That sounds ideal.
Ideal world sometimes, because for many years I've worked with these kind of women, and a lot of them weren't very happy.
Oh, bless.
Yeah, it's for the Afro-Caribbean woman, just look at in.
So, do you actually agree that we are 4 out of 5 Afro-Caribbean women or black women are overweight? Do you agree with that?
I don't agree with that statement.
Okay.
Our bodies are built so much differently.
Okay.
It's not just muscle mass versus fat.
Yeah.
You know, you got the surface fat and you got deep fat.
Okay.
So when you look at the different types of body shapes,
yeah,
you know, there's 3 different types of body shapes. And for me as an African woman who know that, you know, someone could have a 28 waist and a 42 hip, that's seen as healthy.
Yeah.
But if she weighs 12 stone because of that hip weight, then
she's seen as overweight.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's like, how do you work that out? If when you do a hip to weight ratio,
yeah,
your waist is small enough, but your hips are not, and we know that's how, you know, our women are built.
Yeah.
Then is being 12 stone really that bad?
Okay.
If it is all muscle, because a lot of the time it isn't all fat. Some women just do carry, and you know, it's not a sense of when you've got the right diagnosis, because that's what go into the right kind of environment where they can actually test how much muscle you have, how much muscle mass you have versus how much fat. And that's what a lot of people don't realize as well. My BMI is always on the higher scale. It's always borderline. But when I measure myself, and there's machines that you can do that in, you know, some really good gyms, my muscle mass is always quite high.
Okay.
So that might be just because I'm coming from a fitness background, but not always. Most women carry lots of fat in the places where it's a risk to their health. And most black women are exactly that. They don't carry the fat where it's a risk to their health. We've started to change that because of diet and all the rest of the stuff. But from back home to here, most women back home, they're carrying it in the right places. It's just, unfortunately, we're being measured by parameters that don't work for us. Yeah.
I used to work for Diabetes UK. It's a charity, and I know they say that if you have a certain amount of fat around your stomach,
that hip to weight, exactly, you
have to be careful, because that could be an early sign of, you know, you could get diabetes.
That's right.
And I think with our sort of diets as well, those are things that we need to watch out for. High carb food,
the starches,
carbohydrates, etc. You know. But how can we help ourselves to do that? And I'm actually speaking to you and saying, I love bread, although I don't buy bread as much as I used to. Everything I love to eat is based around rice and stew. And if I don't have rice and stew, I don't feel like I've eaten.
You've eaten, right. So it's just the type of starches that we consume. So if you're going to be a rice eater, don't go for the sticky rice.
Okay.
Basmati's best.
Okay.
That's what... I saw a bag of rice in Ghana once that said diabetic rice, and I started laughing. I was like, is this related to diabetes? But there's a bit of science behind it. Basmati rice doesn't carry so much water, which then doesn't make the rice starchy. And the starch is the problem. So unfortunately, we eat lots of hard food as well. So all the yams, plantains, all those kind of stuff, starches. So it's just a matter of choice. It might take away a lot of what our favourite foods are. Yeah. So all the fufus and the yams and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, amala.
So, you know, anything pounded that is basically working that stuff, bread, you're kneading and working the dough, and the more fluffy it is, the better. Yeah. Unfortunately, those are the ones that gets us, because it's a case of, even if it is wholemeal, you know, like pasta and bread and that kind of stuff, it's still a starch. So it's about portion size. Okay. And just trying to, you know, make the plate more colourful. Yes. As opposed to, So it's hard, but it's something hard. That I think from the natural diet that we have back home, portion size is the key. The westernized diet, big problems. There's so many, because a lot of the time we're buying things in packets and we're not reading what's in the packets. Okay. We need to look out for that. We need to go back to starting to cook from scratch and knowing exactly what we're putting in our meals. Yeah.
Okay. So what would you advise somebody who's struggling? So for me, I procrastinate a lot. I'm like, okay, I'm going to start. Decided to put a DVD on. Yeah. do it for one day, next day I'm not on it.
Yeah.
And it's like, hold on a minute. And you know what I hate the most, actually? When you see those aunties you haven't seen in a long time.
Right.
And they're like, oh, you've added.
It's not auntie.
You've added.
My dad says that.
And you're feeling good. You're looking good. Oh, you've put on weight on. It's just like, I don't need you to tell me that. I honestly don't.
No, you don't want to.
Yeah, because sometimes you're already feeling bad. That, oh gosh, what have I done? And you can actually see it in your movement as well. Probably a lot slower in certain things.
Sluggish,
yeah. So what can be the motivating factor? What do we need to do to help retrain our minds?
Yeah.
Help me retrain my mind to be like, you just got to do this.
Yes.
But it's keeping the momentum going.
Right.
Because I actually enjoy exercising, but it's just actually getting to do it.
To just do it. And it is a mindset. You said it so right. It's literally... I shouldn't even really be talking about this because I'm one of the worst people. Since I stopped working in the gym, I've probably visited the gym all of about 3 or 4 times in the last year and a half. But that's because I now know that it has to be a lifestyle choice.
But do you really need the gym? You don't really need the gym.
That's what I was just about to say. Yeah. It's not about, if you want to call it making time for exercising, it's about changing your lifestyle. So if it's waking up in the morning, you have, you know, the kind of stuff that you do to get yourself into the throes of the day. Yeah. You might have something that you read, you know, to motivate you. You can do stuff at home. Yeah. You know, there's the kind of stuff, the kind of exercises that you can just do before you get out of bed. And you can find out what suits you best. Yeah. There's no point in someone being told, well, do this kind of exercise and do that kind of exercise if it's not something you're going to do every single day. And also, there are cheat days. You know, it's not the day that you just veg out and do whatever you like, but it could be a day where you just relax because the body does need rest also to be healthy. So it is 100% mindset in the first stage. Yeah. And anything that you do for a month becomes something that you will end up doing.
Okay, so 21 days to break a habit.
That's literally how it goes. You can just decide, okay, I'm going to get up. You can set an alarm on your phone as a reminder. You know, do something, some motivational reading or, you know, podcast or whatever. And then that normally gives you a kick in the morning to wake you up and be like, okay, what am I going to do? Yeah. So for the mums out there, it's give yourself some time. Yeah, we get tired, but even if it's setting the clock for 15 minutes earlier and just jogging on the spot, you know, that makes a huge difference. Yeah. There's so many body weight exercises we can just do with a little bit of space. You know, before you leave the bedroom, okay, fine, you get out of the bedroom, you've got to rush, you come out of the shower, you feel better. It's like it gives you that extra, you know, bounce in your step. But it is that kind of stuff. And then it's Fitbit. Yeah. If you've got a target, if you've got a personal target, you'll get off the bus 2 steps earlier, you leave the car at home, you know, you walk up the stairs, you walk up the escalator. It's little things like that that make a difference. But when you've got something to remind you of your target, you'll stick to it. So it's about setting small goals and trying to achieve them every day. Leads to weekly goals, monthly goals, and as you said.
Let's go on a quick news break. We'll come back with how to set small goals to achieve bigger goals, because I think that is really important. Yeah. That's what I've been learning. But it does take a while to change.
It does.
ABN Radio, London's Afropolitan radio station. More news, more information. This is ABN News on the Hour.
From the Sky News Centre at 9, a 25% US import tariff on steel from the EU has been described as illegal by the French president. The UK isn't ruling out taking retaliatory measures after Donald Trump brought in the tax. Shadow International Trade Secretary Barry Gardner says the American president could end up damaging his own economy.
It's a very foolish way to secure jobs to see your trading partners impose tariffs on your motorcycle industry, on your bourbon industry, on your jeans industry, on key American exports. It won't protect those jobs.
A British man who spent 4 years on death row in Ethiopia has been met by hundreds of supporters as he arrived back home. A huge crowd sang as Andy Sega got to Heathrow after being pardoned. He'd been a prominent critic of the country's ruling party and was convicted as a terrorist in 2009. Women with ovarian cancer are being given fresh hope as a new drug becomes available on the NHS in England and Wales for the first time. The pill can help keep certain types of the disease in remission for 4 times longer than chemotherapy. Rebecca Renison is from the charity Target Ovarian Cancer.
It takes us a step forward in how we treat this disease, and it also paves the way for the next generation of treatments to come through. So it really is, it raises the standard almost across the board when it comes to ovarian cancer treatment.
Police say there's no evidence to suggest a car which ploughed into a group of people in Greater Manchester was terror-related. A man's been arrested after it happened last night in Trafford Park. 2 separate reviews are being launched looking at the high cost of funerals. The competition watchdog says it'll examine whether information is clear enough, while the Treasury is considering cracking down on prepaid plans. And it's claimed prawns have personalities. Scientists looked at how the crustaceans get their food and found some are consistently shy while others are much bolder. That's the latest. I'm Annie Green.
Consider that life wasted. Consider the heart ripped out of a family. Consider the potential never realized. Are these the things you consider when you carry a knife? It's not about street cred. It's about staying alive. Drop that knife. Save your life.
ABN Radio.
London!
London's premier Afropolitan station.
It was a well-paying job, respectable, wearing a suit and tie every day. But I drank 24/7. Drank on the way to work, drank at work.
I never could come to terms with admitting that I had an alcohol problem or a pill problem.
I decided to get clean, and so I went to the Nkrumah program.
Not only did I handle my drug addiction, I completely knew how to live life.
Call Nkrumah today at 01435 512 460. 01435 512 460.
It's that time of the year for Integrity Conference 2018, a Revive Us Again, hosted by Pastor Kingsley Appiaje, with guest speakers Pastor Eastwood Anaba, Pastor Francis Sapon, Reverend Celia Appiaje Collins, and Reverend David Shoshana, on Wednesday the 30th of May to Sunday the 3rd of June at Oasis House, Peel Road, Croydon. Registration is free. Visit tbcoasishouse.com. See you there. What do you like for breakfast?
Well, it depends what mood I'm in. If I'm happy, I like a little bit of porridge with banana because I'm feeling healthy. If I'm in a...
I like a bit of fruit. Nice apples, sliced apples.
I love a cinnamon and raisin bagel, some scrambled eggs, and a...
I say nice English bit.
So I like fruit and oranges.
I like wholemeal bagel with a bit of cream cheese on it and some bacon and then some avocado. And on the side, I like to have
fried egg with bacon, with baked beans, toast.
I normally take my cocoa. Yeah, I'm a Ghanaian. I'm a typical Ghanaian, so I like my cocoa.
I'm not too sure. I normally don't eat breakfast.
It doesn't matter how you like your breakfast, or you may not like breakfast at all, but you will love the sound of your radio when the breakfast is Afropolitan. Watch out for the new ABN Radio Breakfast Show with Efuadum. ABN Radio, London's Afropolitan radio station.
Consider that life wasted. Consider the heart ripped out of a family. Consider the potential never realized. Are these the things you consider when you carry a knife? It's not about street cred. It's about staying alive. Drop that knife. Save your life.
Right. It's an African one. Yeah.
I am.
Yeah, me, I like it. Something so. This my African hands that gon' love you. Yeah. My African lips that gon' kiss you. Whoa. My African hips get down to you. Whoa. My African legs that gon' run to you. Whether you come here to break dance, I mean you come here to shake
Kenyan legs will run through you. Now come on, umekuja to break down, umekuja to get down, umekuja to take chance. Hakuna matata kama umekuja kulipa kupiga dance yo hapo ulipo kata kiu. Anywhere you go, London, USA, nowhere be like Africa, nowhere be like home. Anywhere you go, New York, Chicago, nowhere be like Africa, nowhere be like home.
Radio, home of Afrobeats.
Welcome back to the Discourse with me, Esther Alade. This morning, I'm here with you until 10 a.m. and I've got the lovely Sally in the studio with me, who is a life coach, a financial advisor. Would you say financial advisor? Coach. Financial coach. Okay, yeah, let's use the word. Let's keep using the word coach. So we're here until 10 a.m. and you can join the conversation by calling 0208 670 7300 or 0208 191 7078. And WhatsApp number is 07887 475 940. And just before the break, Sally was taking us through achieving goals, so taking small steps to achieve a bigger goal. And while we were on break, we were talking about our lovely aunties, and I hope I'm not like that to my nieces actually when I see them and say, oh, you've added weight. I hope I'm not like that, because like you say, they look at you, they say to you, you've added weight, you're thinking, hold on a minute, did you try to lose? What have you done? And you're criticizing me. But yeah, so how do we reach goals? How, if somebody wants to lose a stone, for example, how long does it take realistically to lose a stone? If you wanted to lose, can you lose a stone in 2 weeks?
No.
Okay.
So if you're going to be realistic about achieving anything, you've always got to start with, the short, medium and long term. Yeah. It depends on how much time you have to give to achieving that goal as well. But as long as you are setting that short, whether that's a daily goal, your weekly goal, your monthly goal, and then you've got something that you're working towards, that's the biggest thing. So if it's like you've got a wedding in August, you know how long you've got to reach that ideal weight. Or it could be the dress size. It might not even be the weight, because sometimes I think a lot of the time we focus on the scale. On the scales. Yeah. And coming from my coaching background as well, it's off the scales goals and what we call achievements that sometimes are the bigger ones. So for women, it could be a dress size, a particular dress, Whether it's
so, would you advise
something?
Okay, I was going to exactly what I was going to ask you, to buy that dress and look forward to it, to wearing
the size that you want it, or it could be something in the wardrobe that you just don't fit in.
Yeah,
that specially made
there's a lot
garment
of
that you
a lot of them
that you don't want to have to go and take out.
Yeah,
you don't want to take it to the dry cleaners for them to add a few inches in from that stitching that just I could get about 2 more inches either side from that special dress.
Yeah,
and knowing I'm gonna fit back into that dress. And then there's your goal.
Yeah.
You know, so I always say to any client that you first have to have the end goal
in mind.
And then we can work towards that based on the program and based on the time that you have, because that's another thing. If you don't generally have the time, and sometimes also finances comes into that, you can't really set an achievable target for yourself, and then if you fail, that's going to set you back. But actually, you know, those small setbacks sometimes are a learning curve.
Yeah,
so you have to take, you know, the failures as all part of success, but it's also trying to always see it as daily, weekly and monthly goals, and then, you know, it's possible. But you have to decide what you're going to dedicate to that time. With a trainer or a coach, it's easier.
Because you have somebody shouting at you, motivating you.
And luckily, I'm not one of those shouty coaches.
Oh, so how do you do it then?
I'm very enthusiastic. I get involved.
Okay.
I jump up and down with you.
Okay.
I'll pull you. I'll push you.
Pull.
And
so she's a bit physical.
Yes. You know, I do get quite hands-on. You know, I always ask, is it okay if I touch you here? Is it okay if I hold you there? You know, for those that don't like that kind of touchy-feely approach, then fine. But at the same time, at least it shows you, you know, a lot of the times mums always say to me after probably the first time training, I forgot those muscles existed. And it's kind of a good feeling.
Yeah.
Because I always say to them after that session, how does it feel? Because you do. It awakens parts of your body that you think,
it hurts.
Oh, okay, that's where that was. Like, that muscle's really hurting.
Yeah.
But it's a good feeling. So, you know, the next day we'll try and work on another muscle.
The next day you might not be able to get up.
Well, this is the thing. If you
the
do,
pain of
you know, the leg day and you do a butt day and you can't move, you're going upstairs, you're going downstairs, and you're like out each step.
Yeah.
But at least that reminds you
you've had a good workout.
You've had a good workout, and then it gives you, we hope, the motivation to move forward. Especially if you're doing it by yourself, it is a bit difficult. But you've got loads of apps now, loads of DVDs, like you said, that can help you, and they do alternate. So you do legs day, you do back day, you do chest day, arms day, and you rotate them. So
I do admire people that are quite disciplined, and because it does take discipline to change, doesn't it? Yeah. And you just stick to it and the commitment.
That's right.
And I guess it's been addicted to the changes that you see physically as well, and not only that, the energy.
And
because there is a different energy, isn't there?
It is.
Yeah.
That's why it was the key thing that I was saying about the morning routine.
Yes.
Because once you get it in the morning, it sets you up for the whole day.
Yeah.
And it's also another thing of when you've got sort of your cool down, your rest time and exercises routine, whether that's meditating, whether that's yoga, that also puts you in a good mindset and your body in a good position for rest, because recovery is also a huge part of physical fitness, which a lot of people don't realise. They think if they just go at it, you know, 10 to the dozen, then they think that it's okay, but actually the body does need time to rest, and you do need time to let the muscles recover and let the body recover, which goes into sleep. So those that don't get a good amount of sleep also then put stress on the body, and then that gives you more weight gain.
So I might be one of those people.
Yes,
because it's like you sleep late, you wake up quite early, and you're trying to juggle everything to do with life, and interesting. we were just analysing my body size during the break. And I'm like, I don't know if my body shape is changing. I feel a little bit, broader on top. But you're like, no, you're very much still pear shape? Pear shape. I'm like, my arms are big, because I'm sure there's women out there thinking, gosh, look at these chunky arms. But you're like,
wear
no.
long sleeves in the summer.
Yeah.
When they get their vests out and
And you're like, no, they're normal.
That's fine. That's
How can we change? Because that's another thing as well, perceptions. So when we're going into the series about what does it feel like, or what does it mean to be a woman in 21st century, it's that image of this is what your body should look like. This is how thin your arms should be, even though you might have a larger breast size. Or chest size, should I say. We assume that we should have thin arms, but it doesn't really work like that, does it?
It doesn't look right.
And I guess with people having surgery, there's a false illusion. That, you having such a big hip but really thin thighs, that's not normal.
It's not normal. But we can see, no pun intended, but there's a heavy influence now of the more curvaceous bottom, thinner legs,
the African shape,
what has naturally come to us has now become the plastic surgeon's dream. And it's also, unfortunately as well, it's gone into the realms of some backstreet sort of practices that have started to come out from trying to create that size. We've got a lot of celebrities that are doing some interesting things to themselves to gain that kind of size. But I would say 9 times out of 10 you can get that natural shape from exercise. Exercise is the tiring way of doing it. I just think
some people are lying when like, I've been doing squats. I've been doing lots of squats. I'm like, you've been doing lots of squats and you've got this, and you end up getting this bum. Is that really is that true?
Without a shadow of a doubt. I'm one of those people who, let me hit the gym today.
Seriously?
In 2 weeks' time, you'd be like, oh my gosh, and it happened to me at work.
Are you serious?
It was so funny that I actually, because of the male environment, I didn't notice what I was looking like. I didn't notice how much I was changing.
Okay.
So before I got pregnant with my son, I decided I'm going to get fit. I'm going to just, trim. That's probably what helped me to get pregnant, to be honest. And I just went all at it. And within 2 or 3 weeks of that routine, I had people literally like, you didn't look like that the other day, Sam. And I was like, didn't look like what? Like, the butts come in, like the legs. And I actually got tested to the point that I ended up leg pressing 200 kg.
Okay.
Because this guy wanted to find, a personal trainer, colleague of mine, wanted to find my 1 rep max. And at 200 kg, when
that's
I was
a lot of weight.
It was humongous. When I saw, because he wouldn't let me see what I was pushing as well.
Oh my gosh.
But when I was still pushing it, he was like, that's why your butt's like that. And I was like, what are you talking about? But this is the kind of stuff that as women we sit there and you think, oh well, my waist like this, my bum's like that, my arms like that. Sometimes just pushing that little bit of weight, even carrying a baby. I mean, these are the kind of things that I do with my training sessions. I encourage women to bring their children.
Okay.
The baby's weight, you know how many kilos your child is. So you can use your child as part of that weight. And you can do squats.
So really there's no excuse.
There's no excuse. You can watch some of those online videos where the woman's got, the baby on her back.
And they're just doing what they need to do.
And it's normal. It's the kind of stuff that, way back when the mums were going to farm and when they was doing whatever housework, the baby was strapped to their back.
That's so true, actually. And they're just getting on with it.
So
sweeping the floors, yes.
So it's one of those things. It's one of those things that it's been around naturally there for us for centuries. We didn't start this. It's been there ever since, but it becomes the thing where it disappears and we re-find it. We think that we're remaking the wheel, but it's always been there.
So do you agree or disagree with plastic surgery then?
As I said, for me, it always goes back to mindset. Okay. There's always imperfections. There's always going to be something that you don't like about yourself. So once you get to the position where something is not quite as you would call aesthetically pleasing about yourself, and you think, oh well, my nose is not that straight. Or, you know, even down to eyebrows. My big faux pas before you even go to surgery,
I'm already laughing,
is eyebrows.
What?
It's a dysmorphia.
We've all got the same eyebrows.
We've all got the same eyebrows, and some people's eyebrows is more than eyebrows.
It's about the eyebrows and the lashes.
I'm sorry, I love a beautiful woman looking immaculate and neat and tidy and makeup, and I'm not a makeup person heavily. Like an occasion where I can have it applied because I'm not good at applying myself. Yeah, I'll do it. But eyebrows and the wings for eyelashes.
Yeah,
like,
you're
they're
cracking
actually
me up.
like butterflies.
But I always say this. My brother was like, we had clubbing years ago when I used to have the long Brazilian hair and stuff.
Yeah,
and it's like, oh, I thought that girl was you.
You couldn't see anyone from behind. That's my mum's one.
I thought that girl was you. You all look the same.
You all look the same.
What's up with
behind,
this eyebrows and all this makeup and all this hair? Why are you all girls all wearing the same thing? Why do you all look the same?
And you know the worst thing is we're doing it for each other, because the men, as you said, your brother was like,
what's going on here?
I don't know who that is. Oh, I thought that was you. They just think we all look the same.
Oh my gosh. So I'm trying to go natural, and sometimes I do flip it up a bit, put the wig on. Yeah. And I think, like, as we did a show on hair last year sometime, I think it was, and it was about feeling confident in a certain hairstyle, because our natural hair is oh my gosh, you have to oh wow.
So that's it. That's why, like, in explaining,
did you cut it off? Or?
Yes.
Why? That's so drastic.
It's a choice that I've
Why did you keep the hat on all this time?
I was actually sweating when I came in, so I've cooled down now. I probably wouldn't catch a cold. But
that was a big surprise for me. Can we keep it off?
Of course.
Oh my gosh.
So
the big reveal.
The big reveal. There you go.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
So but
wow.
That's me. That's why I'm always 100%
it's
mindset.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
I can actually see your face properly now.
Right.
But why did you? Not that I wanted to say anything before. But why did you feel the need to just cut it all off?
It's something I do regularly. So through pregnancy, I had really hard to manage afro hair. Just grew like, nobody's business. I got to about 6 months in, couldn't comb my hair. Wow. So I just head wrapped. For the rest of the duration of my pregnancy. Yeah. I think when I was about 8 months pregnant, had it plaited. Okay. Put it away. That was it. Yeah. That was my winter hairstyle anyway.
Okay.
Gave birth. Thought, oh my gosh, what is this on my head? Yeah. The hair was completely unmanageable. Wow. And that was probably the most difficult time with hair for me, because I was told you can't relax your hair. Oh my gosh, you're breastfeeding. All these kind of stories.
Does that affect you?
I don't believe so, but people have all these wives' tales about what you shouldn't do. Post and your hair's gonna fall out. Hell no, my hair didn't fall out. It got worse.
Okay.
So breastfeeding didn't make my hair thinner. Relaxing it didn't do anything.
People would love to have your type of hair.
Honestly, if my daughter was here now, you would understand what I'm talking about, because hers is literally what I had then. Yeah. But it wasn't the first time I'd shaved my hair. Over years, probably every 5-10 years, I'll just shave it all off and start again.
Okay.
But when I had my daughter, completely unmanageable.
Yeah.
My scalp was so sensitive. Left it, relaxed it, I think 2 months after having her, and then about 9 months later, when I went back to work, decided to relax it again. Still completely unmanageable. So we went on holiday to Ghana for our first family holiday, and the day I got there, I literally said to my dad, can you call your barber? He's like, no, you're not going to do this one again. I was like, Dad, just call him. So he refused to call the guy. So I said, Dad, when I get here, if I'm not going to say I need to go and have my hair plaited, which he prefers, he loves it. He loves women in extensions. Yeah. I normally shave it off And he was not willing to help me. So I just went out to the barbers. I went to 3 different salons. And then I ended up practically doing, what's her name? Britney Spears.
In the barbers.
Because the guy didn't want to cut my hair. He was like, oh, but I can trim it. I was like, I want my hair shorter than yours. And he was like a number 2. And he was like, no, I can't. And I said, if you don't do it, I'm going to pick it up and start shaving it myself.
Oh,
so
gosh.
he literally shaved it off. And I did grow it back again.
Yeah.
By the time I had my second child, I'd grown my hair again. I'd gone through the whole
process again.
Plaits and afro. And then I had a complete change. When I had my son, I had this almost coolie-like hair that was wispy and blew in the wind, and couldn't maintain an afro. It was just floppy. I'd comb it up trying to maintain my afro, the pick, and it would just flop. So that was another disappointment. So then I cut it again. So that's kind of how it's gone. It's like,
and each time, what has your partner said about it?
Well, luckily, he met me bald.
Okay.
So that was not really a shock.
Okay.
But then when I grew my hair, obviously that was a different look.
Yeah.
That was great. When we got married, I had the extensions, holding the salon with 4 girls plaiting your hair kind of thing. So that was nice. But I'm lucky enough to have never been involved with anyone actually who's ever had a problem with it, because I've been doing this short, long hair probably since my teens. So,
oh, wow, okay.
I used to have the kind of Halle Berry short haircut, and I've just been through all the motions of over relaxing. When I did that, I used to have to relax my hair like every 2 weeks because it would grow back.
That was similar to me actually. Really thick roots. Yeah, and then I decided to go natural when I had a perm go really bad. I was one of those permed short bobs, always at the hairdressers, really thick flowing bob.
That's it.
And then they processed it too much on one side, and literally my hair was just falling out on one side. I was thinking, what's going on here? And then from there, just decided to go natural, and I've been natural ever since. But I've never not shown my hair. So it's either underneath weaves. So then I started doing single plaits or weaves, leaving the front out. Then the hair breaks in the front.
Right.
And you're like, okay, I need to protect the hair again.
Protective stuff.
Then get the wig. I thought, let me try the wig, but I'm never really comfortable with the wig.
No,
it's not really me. I think I have this thing like, oh gosh, it's going to fall off anytime. And you're trying to hold it with the wind.
When it's blowing in the wind.
And I move it a certain way, and I'm thinking, oh, someone's seen me move my. It's just like so uncomfortable. But I remember when I was 19. And before I was 19, I had really short hair. So I had short hair and had it coloured, slightly texturised, and then had it red, burgundy. So I loved that look.
Colours, yes.
And then I was 19. I was like, okay, this is the last time I'm going to be a teenager. I'm going to do something I'm going to remember. And that was, I think, the Adina Howard days. So I went blonde.
Amazing. I rocked blonde hair for about 10 years.
The whole thing was blonde. But then I used to work, my first job, I think, was in McDonald's. And I was a floor manager. But I went next door to buy something. And then a guy, an English guy, was reading my name badge. And he goes, oh, Esther, don't you look like a pint of Guinness?
Oh,
and I was
like, thanks.
And I literally went back and looked at the mirror. I was like, oh my gosh, I actually do look like a pint of Guinness. And then I cut it all off.
Oh, bless you.
I was like, no, I'm not doing that again.
Yeah, I think I rocked that look for quite a while as well.
But when I was younger, you just didn't care. But suddenly you become a little bit more self-conscious. You start to maybe compare.
Yes.
And like you said, mostly maybe women, we do it to each other.
We do it to each other.
We admire someone else's hairstyle. We think, oh, that might look good on me. You copy the style, you emulate it. You're thinking, oh. And I guess media doesn't always help as well. But I think the point I was trying to make is that why are we not comfortable with our own natural hair? Because our hair is our hair. Why don't we feel comfortable to just rock our hair naturally how it is?
I think it's the ability to manage it. So whether you think it looks neat, because obviously professionally,
there's different textures as well.
Exactly. So the coil. So it depends on how coiled your hair is, how coiled your afro is, and from a personal perspective, and then also from the perspective of having worked with a lot of stylists as well, it's quite difficult to manage.
Okay.
So unless you're 100% willing to just rock the afro, that natural look, not trying to make it look curly, so you know you got the curly Sue kind of afro because you've done it in a twist or whatever, and you're just rocking your afro, not shaped, not tamed, then I mean, I'm lucky enough to say that I've actually had a good few years of doing that.
Yeah.
Had the whole Makosi. So it's my own afro, actually. I've had the being in the hair shop and someone saying, I want the hair that she's got. It's my own hair. You know, that kind of thing. But
that's another thing is that we still buy hair.
We still buy hair.
To make it look like our own hair.
That's actually
why do we do that?
I said that to the woman. I was like, why don't you just take off your weave? Your hair's probably like that underneath there anyway. But I don't know. I personally have never struggled with that issue per se, mainly because when I was younger, as you can see, I have quite a large forehead, so it
looks normal to me.
Well, it looks normal now because I'm bald. But I think when I had hair, it was a bit more obvious that my forehead was quite. In fact, I was a 5 head at school.
Okay.
So being bald was just easy. It was a natural kind of, progression. Black Panther just saved my life because now it's like
it's a trend,
and everyone's like, "Oh yeah, you only did it for that." So
I was going to ask that question, but I'm glad I didn't because I was like,
if you knew me, you'd have known that I've been rocking this for decades. So it's like, it's not.
They copied you.
So for me, it's like when we look at how. From back home, and especially in times gone by, when I've gone back home to Ghana and I've had short hair, they've assumed that I was a lot younger, so they thought I was a schoolgirl.
Okay.
So I've had ex-partners being slapped because they think, what are you doing with this small girl?
Oh, wow.
I'm not a schoolgirl, I'm just a woman who actually doesn't mind shaving their head every now and again.
Oh, so because it's natural to have short hair
when you're at school age.
That's true.
So there's all these different, aspects of what we do with our hair.
Why do they have that rule in school, in African schools?
I think it's just about the time management. If you spend time having to, because we know how much time it takes
to do our hair in the morning.
Also the aspects of sort of like lice and all that kind of stuff. So cross contamination in the school.
Oh.
If all those things are eliminated, learning can happen. So,
interesting.
The time it takes you to get to school, the time it takes you to do your hair, the competition, everyone's uniform.
Yeah.
It's that look of being at school. So it's an interesting one. It's one that if you speak to those that have been schooled back home, and they have gone to like state school versus private school, they talk about it a lot. And I've got a lot of friends from mixed parentage that also have different kinds of hair who wanted to cut their hair, but because of their hair type,
they were not allowed to cut their hair.
Not allowed to cut their hair.
How bizarre!
Like, that's really strange. That's rude. And they actually wanted to cut their hair, so they were like.
So you have a mixed race child. The dark skinned one goes to school and has short hair, and the mixed race one is allowed to have her hair
because they think it's easier to manage.
But then that defeats the purpose of the cross contamination and all.
So then they would know who the child was that had the knits.
That's so weird. That's so wrong. I think there's more to that one, but let's go on a quick break.
That one definitely is
weird.
Hi, this is Rodney Hines.
And I'm Michael.
Join us on the Voice of Sports show each and every Saturday on ABN Radio.
We'll keep you bang up to date with all the latest football scores, and we'll discuss all the big talking points in the world of sport. So don't forget, join us this Saturday, 4 till 6 on ABN Radio UK.
Tune in to the new ABN Breakfast Show from 7 a.m. to 11 a.m. The London City Show has evolved into an all-new breakfast show with sizzling slices of juicy newsy current affairs served with junior jumbo-sized convos on issues you should be aware of. What did I just say? The ABN Breakfast Show, the Afropolitan breakfast you can't afford to miss.
Consider that life wasted. Consider the heart of the family ripped apart. Consider the potential never realized. Are these the things you consider when you carry a knife? It's not about street cred or respect. It's about staying alive. Drop that knife and save a life. Gwenton Slowly, supporting all family and young people.
Yeah.
Dano vibe. Dano vibe. Tiny. Hey, ain't nobody but said I think my gym tripping, and the CC ping. Yes, I'm the one where they come with the big thing. Striking sign like lightning. I don't clear, baby girl, no vice sing. Baby girl, you scatter my memory. You got the right tune and the melodies. Another like you, me, I never see. Baby girl, you stuck in my memory. And you know I remember, yeah. You know I remember, yeah. You know I remember, yeah. Girl, I can't forget your love. You know I remember, yeah. You know I remember, yeah. You know I remember, yeah. Girl, I cannot forget your love. Said I just can't forget your love. No, I just can't forget your love. No. Say I just can't forget your love. You know I remember, yeah. You know I remember, yeah. Oh baby, you know I remember, yeah. January to December, yeah. You know I remember, yeah. You know I remember, yeah. And I cannot forget your love. All your figure it, make a man like me when I'm split. Say your heart don't break, I go renovate. With me, everything is gonna be better, babe. I must confess that I want you. Be right by your side like I know you. And anything you want, I go order. You one that I wanna see first in the morning. Oh baby girl, you stuck in my memory. Another like you, girl, I never see. You got the right tune and the melodies. Don't you know you stuck in my memory? You know I remember, yeah. You know I remember, yeah. You know I remember, yeah. And I just can't forget your love. Said I just can't forget your love. No, I just can't forget your love. Say I just can't forget your love. You know I remember, yeah. You know I remember, yeah. Oh baby, you know I remember, yeah. January to December, yeah. You know I remember, yeah. You know I remember, yeah. And I cannot forget your love, your love. And I cannot forget your love, your love. January to December, yeah. You know I remember, yeah. You know I remember, yeah. And I cannot forget your love, your love, your love, your love, your love, your love, your love.
This is ABN Radio, Afrocentric, Cosmopolitan. We are London's Afropolitan station.
Welcome back to the Discourse with me, Esther Alade, and I have been joined with the lovely Sally. It's been great conversation, and thank you for joining me. We started off talking about Grenfell. You helped out with the community. It's almost a year. It'll be a year on the 14th of June. Yeah. And then we've moved on to talk about you. It's really been all about you, the woman of the couple of hours we've been talking.
It's amazing.
It is. It actually is. And then you decided to flip mode on me and show me what was under your hat. You know, you showed me your Wakanda star.
Wakanda forever.
So I'm loving that. And we've been talking about weight. We've been talking about goals, how to achieve goals, how to set goals, starting small steps to achieve the bigger goal. But not only that, to have the end vision in mind in order for you to achieve that. So if you're trying to lose that weight, get that dress, get those pair of jeans, and work towards fitting into that. So not really about the scale, but about your body. And walking, you said, is really good, actually.
Yes,
and
for women.
Yeah,
burns the most
no excuse. So
no excuse.
Park your car somewhere and walk, or get off the bus early.
Walk up the stairs more. Don't take the lift. Don't take the escalator. Those small things.
I've been trying to do that. A lot of running for trains, but take care on the escalators because I've done a lot of tripping.
No.
And it's like no one's behind you to help you.
Take it easy, people.
And you're just like looking around thinking, oops. But yeah, so now we're going to talk about the other part of your coaching, which is financial side of things. Yes. So you can help people also not only lose weight, but also get out of debt.
Indeed.
What a great combination.
Yes.
Like lose weight, feel good, save more money.
Indeed.
Get yourself out of debt. And how do we do that? So for people who might be struggling to pay off some bills or have bills lagging behind, what steps can they take to come out of that? Or if they're owing anyone any money, what would be your advice be?
Okay, so health is wealth for me.
Yeah.
It's just the whole approach to your lifestyle and making people more aware of how to educate themselves and their family on what it takes to become debt free. I know debt is probably one of the biggest issues in the UK.
Yeah.
So from my perspective, I get people to look at who they are financially.
Okay, that's an interesting concept.
You don't really realise, what position you're in until you actually sit down and have a look at where you are financially. Whether that means your income, your expenditures, your actual debt. When you have that all set out in front of you, then you have a better understanding of how to come out of that situation. So in the coaching that I do with families and individuals as well, we look at who you are financially. It's like a fingerprint. Literally, what you have coming in, what you have going out, what you owe, and what you can manage on. So it's not just about, looking at, well, I have a monthly income of £1,500 and sometimes I actually end up spending, £1,700. Where does that extra £200 come from?
Yeah.
That means you're getting yourself into debt. So when you realise that, because some people don't actually know how much they spend on their shopping. They might say to you, oh, well, on average, but is that a true reflection of what you spend? Some people don't realise how much their cable bill is. How much cable do you watch? How much Sky do you actually watch? You're paying for it. Do you use it?
Yeah.
You're at work most of the day. You come home and watch a couple of hours.
And people probably have Sky, they probably have Netflix, they probably have,
So you've got all these other things that you're paying out for that you don't necessarily use.
The gym that you don't go to.
The gym membership that you don't use. Because you don't go to the gym even 2 times a week, let alone 3 times a week for it to be made worth it.
Yeah.
So we get to the grips of where you're spending, what you're earning, and look at how we can improve that. So when looking at spending, that's usually the biggest one for any individual, especially for a family, when they actually realise how much they spend.
Yeah.
And there's a shortfall and you can't make up for those, missing pounds. We look at how we can increase your income.
Okay.
So whether that's taking on an extra business or looking at ways that you can earn from your hobbies. There's so many things that, especially as women, we do other things that we could be making money from that we don't necessarily realise.
That's so true.
The expenses is the first look.
Yeah.
You know what you got coming in. We try to tighten the belt on the expenses. Then we move at looking at protecting your family, because if you don't realise the first pillar of moving out of debt is protecting yourself, whether that's you can lose your job, whether that's unfortunately your demise, and then you've left your family with not only debts but having to replace that income that you potentially were bringing to the family.
That's true.
These kind of things are what we say is the foundations of.
So how do you protect? What do you mean? How do you then protect your family?
So it depends on the type of life insurance, health insurance that you have.
Okay.
Looking at your expenses is always going to be part of that.
Yeah.
trying to get you to pull back, see where you can save. And then also, if you do have credit cards, loans, and all these kind of things, look at how, if you have a property, you can consolidate. If you don't, how you can then also look at, money transfers, looking at better rate credit cards.
Okay.
Looking at your credit situation.
Your credit rating as well.
Looking at your credit rating, but also looking at how you can transfer your card. You don't have to stay with that bad card. If you are paying on time and if you are managing your expenses, you can then pay off the more expensive cards sooner.
Okay.
And those are the ones that we advise. Pay the most expensive ones first and then work your way down. And always do your research. Go online. Once you've got that credit report, once you've got what we provide, which is a plan that helps you to forecast and look at who you are in paper, and that's what I provide the family. I first take the information and then I come back to them and I produce it to them in a book form. So it actually says, okay, A and B earn this much, you spend that much, you have this much debt, this is what you need to do to accelerate and improve this situation. Then we have, as I said, the protection. So if something should happen, you're able to protect your family. But then you also have looking at, which a lot of people don't actually really think about, is also having that emergency fund, because saving is part of it. Saving in the bank sometimes isn't great because of
you don't get much returns.
Interest rate. But that emergency fund, which we say is between 3 to 6 months income just saved, is another milestone. So once you've got through debt, then we say you need to have that kind of money down. It's not rainy day money, it's just in case. Once you've got to that level and you have that saved, then we talk about investing.
Okay.
So there's so many different levels to it, but we always look at where an individual is personally themselves.
Okay.
Once we've got them to that stage, we move to the next stage. So as most people always say, their job just keeps them just over broke. So we just help people to also look at other ways of making an income, and what that might be for them. Depends on the individual, but sometimes it also through the work that I do, there's other ways of supporting people to make an extra income.
Okay.
To get themselves out of that situation. So, it's twofold. It's get you debt free, but also get you an extra income. Because investments, that's how rich people do it. They have ways to invest.
They make money while they're sleeping.
Make money whilst they're sleeping. Exactly.
Because who is it that said it? You need to have at least 7 streams of income.
Indeed.
It's not just about having a salary, but also look at ways to have other money coming in, but not with your effort, but something that's just,
that's it,
just
passive stream.
Exactly. But how do you achieve that if you don't know? And because I think a lot of people, it's all about getting to that next job and earning more money.
That's it.
But then sometimes more money you earn, more tax you have to pay on that, and then it's not much of a difference sometimes. You have to be on a higher earning bracket.
That's right.
At times to see the difference. But that's great. So you then suggest to people how they can also make extra income. What are one of the ways that people can do that?
So through the business that I'm doing now, we're on the realms of actually recruiting people to do exactly what I do.
Okay.
So we always talk to people about how they can themselves become a part of it by different means. Either you are someone who just wants to be a referrer, so you can talk about referring people. If you want to actually do it on a part-time basis yourself, so that means that you actually go out and help other families.
Okay.
There's some people
so you would train these people, obviously.
So if it was like yourself and you decided you wanted to get involved, what I would say to you is you can either do it literally just by telling me people that you think I could help.
Okay.
And if you joined me in that, then it's like a distribution business.
Okay.
So if you see it as, you tell me I know 10 people that could benefit from what you've shown me, I show it to those 10 people. If any of those 10 people see a value in it and take on services, financial services, you would get a percentage of whatever they decided to take on board. And the financial services providers are the ones who pay. We don't pay anything. The client doesn't pay anything. The service providers are the ones who then pay an income. And that's something that for most of the services that are provided, it's either a one-off payment, but some of them, nicely, are those that they pay every year, year on year. So it is that passive income that is still coming over years, you know. So it's not only just helping people to become debt-free by making them look at where they are financially, it's also giving them the opportunity to have that kind of income. And some people are doing it full-time and are on six-figure incomes. And now that's their only means of business. They've, you know, changed from, we've got people that I work alongside that used to be medical doctors, surgeons. Some of them were actually IFAs themselves. They've moved from, like you said, working in banking, but have decided that this is more ethically, you know, it suits them better to know that they're doing good and they're actually supporting people to actually, you know, make a change in their life. So, yeah.
So how can people get hold of you?
Well, at the moment, I have my website is up, and that's XI Fundamentals. So the word is all one word, xifundamentals.org. And all the information's there, or you can email me at sally@xifundamentals.org.
XI Fundamentals.
Yeah.
We like that. It's been so good talking to you.
Thank you. It's been amazing.
It's flown by, hasn't it?
It has absolutely flown by.
That is what the discourse. That's what happens on the discourse.
Well,
you just keep going.
I realised.
You just keep talking, and then
I was thinking, oh my gosh, can I talk about Grenfell for more than half an hour? I don't know. And then I was that 2 hours has flown by, and Grenfell was a distant memory.
Yeah, we've gone the whole work. So we've talked about the past, and then we've moved on to you talking about your future.
Indeed.
And I guess Grenfell helped you to realise what your purpose is and what you needed to do and what your priority is, which is your family, and having a work that's around you and you are around your children.
Yeah. So now, I'm not time poor anymore. So as we were discussing about me arranging childcare. But so you know, I'll still be able to go back and just see them the tail end of waking up and breakfast and all of that stuff, and still get the time to do stuff with them in the day. Exactly. So it's amazing. It's been a wonderful journey. And I'm very thankful for this opportunity. It's actually been like therapy. I was spoken through like all of my journey and didn't even realise how far I've come. But
well, I'm glad you say it's like therapy. I'm able to do that, I guess. But it's good, and I hope you've encouraged somebody out there that
I do hope so.
Take the leap of faith. Do what you enjoy. But I guess plan it beforehand, because you didn't just jump. You took the right training.
That's right.
You took the steps to equip yourself before embarking on a new challenge or a new project. So it's not just about leaving your bread and butter, but think about it. Whilst you have them,
don't put your hands in the fire.
Exactly.
At least, you know.
Whilst you have your bread and butter, plan for the next step. So if you really want to do something, you really want to change it, then get yourself trained on it.
That's right.
And then move. But it's not always easy, as we know.
It's not.
It has its ups and downs.
That's right. Yeah.
But in the end, it is quite rewarding, I think. Just to know that you're doing what you truly enjoy.
And that's it, doing what you love.
And you have the freedom as well, because you determine your time scale. So you determine when you work and when you don't work.
Exactly.
Right?
That's exactly what happens.
Which is cool.
And it is a good thing as well from the perspective of going from self-employment to a business owner.
Yes.
That jump is like the most freeing and amazing situation that you can possibly put yourself into, because then not only are you your own boss, but then you are somebody else's boss now as well, and you can help them to build your dream as opposed to building somebody else's.
That's his dream,
and that's for me the biggest reward for making that jump, is now I'm making my own dream come alive as opposed to, ploughing away at somebody else's for many years. So
waking up early and going to a job you hate.
Indeed.
But then you kind of enjoyed it because you were in that field. Let's not
make it sound so
too bad, because it wasn't.
I've always enjoyed what I did, but it was still always somebody else's dream. But now it's my own.
Yeah, and there's one thing I've learned, that what you hate doing the most in your last job is what you always end up needing in your new role.
Right.
Has that ever happened to you?
Yes. Well, as I said, I've not been to the gym for a year and a half.
Yeah.
And I know I need to exercise. And whilst I was working, I hardly ever went to the gym. But I had the whole, resource surrounding me, but didn't actually use it. So a lot of people would look at me and be like, yeah, but you've got all this stuff. No, when I finish working, I won't go home.
Yeah.
I don't want to still be here. So, it's one of those funny things that you think, wow, okay.
Yeah.
It's something that I need to plan and prioritize, but I will.
Yeah. Especially if you're telling us.
Mm-hmm. That's the thing, but luckily I've made the life changes.
Yes.
That has improved my fitness.
Your fitness,
through my daily activity.
Okay.
So whereas before I might be sitting at a desk for the whole day and not be going up and down, now the busyness of my work and my job actually keeping me more active than I ever was before in my role. So,
which is the most important thing.
Yeah.
So what sentence would you leave us with today?
Definitely goes back to health is wealth.
Health is wealth.
Without your health, nothing else matters. And that's just not on a physical, that's, the whole holistic hog, mind, body and soul.
Yeah.
So definitely. Like I said, it's like therapy. So talking it through, get into the nitty gritty. So
Yeah. And having the right people around you.
Having the right people around you. Mindset. Mindset is key.
Thank you so much, Sally.
Thank you.
It's been
so much.
great. You've been a godsend today.
It's been amazing. Thank you so much. Wonderful.
And so people can find you. If you repeat the email address once again.
Yep. So it's sally@xifundamentals, all one word, .org. And the website is xifundamentals.org.
Fantastic. So that is the discourse for you today. We started off at Grenfell, sad note, but then we've moved on to the good news of Sally and her changing her career and taking a leap of faith. She's still trying to open a parachute.
I still haven't pulled the cord
but she's
yet,
still flying.
I'm floating.
She's still there. She's still there.
I'm flying. I haven't reached ground yet. I'll pull it before I hit ground.
But you won't hit ground because you'll keep flying.
I'm going to keep on flying.
That's the whole idea.
I'm going to grow wings.
Exactly. So, take the leap of faith, try it, because there's no regret, isn't there?
No regret.
You tried it, go back to your skill set. If it doesn't work out,
that's it.
But equip yourself before you take that jump.
Indeed.
And that's it today on the discourse. We've been here since 7. I hope you've enjoyed the music today. I played quite a bit of music today, trying to mix it up a little bit. And back next week where we're starting a series on what does it mean to be a woman in the 21st century. Amazing. And you've kind of started us off with your hairstyle,
honoured.
The whole health, with the profession and everything else. Yeah. So we're going to continue the series. We're going to have loads of other guests who will come in and tell us what they think, what they think it means to be a woman in the 21st century. And for me, it's a little bit mixed. I think it's a learning experience. You're learning who you are. You're changing every time you grow. You're changing.
Roles.
Yeah, every age you get to.
Yep.
And it's not as easy. Sometimes you do wish you were back at school. They did tell you that the best days of your life will be at school.
Days, yeah.
And sometimes you do feel like that. But that's what life is all about, the ups and downs of it. And I pray that we all stay on that journey and keep the faith, because that is primarily what it's all about. You've been listening to The Discourse with me, Esther Alade. Have a lovely weekend.
ABN Radio, London's